Okay, so in this series of videos we're going to take a shot at doing block 5. And block 5 is an interesting piece of wood. We're going to end up with a front, right, and top side in a southwest isoplane in our final drawing over on the layout side. First, what we need to do is type in units, because we're going to do this whole thing in feet and inches, of course. And computer's a little slow, might even be hung up. Here we go. So units, that brings up this dialog box. We just want to change the type to architectural so that we're in feet and inches, and that's all we want to do. Then I want to draw the base. Of course, I'm in top view over here, so I just want to, actually I'm going to draw a P line rather than just a regular line. Doesn't matter where I start, I'm coming over this way. I'm going to turn O tracking off, leave dynamic on, leave O snap on. I think I'll turn the grid off for right now. So I just hit F8 on the keyboard, which should put it in ortho mode. The width is 6 1/4, so 6-1/4, enter, and going the other way, I think it's 3 1/16, so 3-1/16, enter. Coming over this way is going to be the same 6-1/4, and come down here and close the square. So I hit escape, kind of pan that around, zoom it up a little bit, and this is the base for what I want to do. If I look at it in the southwest isometric view, I believe that's southwest, isn't it? If I come over here, southwest isometric, yeah, I get the same thing. Okay, so what I want to do here is I want to actually extrude this thing, but I want to extrude it from this end, and so that's going to require a little razzle dazzle. So coming back over here, I want to extrude this, so EXTRUDE, and select the object, and this will give it a Z, and the Z is 1-5/8, so 1 5/8 inches, and that's the extrusion. If you look at this same thing in conceptual view, there again, the computer seems to be incredibly slow today. Conceptual, you basically got a block. So let's go back to wireframe. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to make myself another layer. I like to make myself a layer for construction lines, and there's no way to get out of construction lines in 3D. And let's see, I want to make that red so it looks very different. I'm going to go ahead and make that the current layer. So then with O snap on over here, O snap is on, I'm going to draw a line. From here I'm going to come up 1 1/8, so 1-1/8. I'm going to go over 3/4, so 3/4, enter. And I'm not sure exactly how far. I need to come down. Let me see how far that is. So from here I need to go down 3/8, 3/8. Then I need to go over 1 1/4. And then I'm just going to let this run wild. And in theory I should be able to trim. Don't know if this will work. Sometimes trimming objects back to 3D objects doesn't work. No, that doesn't work. So I'll draw a line from here to there, and trim back to here, that line. Let's see what's going on here. It just doesn't seem to want to give me a break there. So what's going on over here is that essentially I'm trying to trim lines on the z-axis. You can see the z-axis here because we haven't changed the UCS, so we really got to get in the habit of changing the UCS. The easiest way to change the UCS is to go by a face, and it'll ask you for the face that you want to go by, and click there, and now that's the face, and let's accept that. Notice that now Z is coming away, so my bet is that this trim command to here will now work, and it does. I can trim back to here correctly, and that's because I have my z-axis in the proper direction because I changed my UCS. So what I want to do here is I actually want to get rid of that red line there. I shouldn't have put that there. And I can now get rid of that line. I don't need it. And then I want to draw lines from here to here and to here so that I have that whole piece there that I want to take out. Now I need to join those, essentially making those lines into a polyline that can be extruded. And keep in mind, this extrusion wouldn't work if the UCS was not correct. Extrusions only work when the Z factor is correct, and extrusions only work on the Z-axis. So extrude, and let's click here, enter. I want to extrude it out here. Doesn't matter how far I go, I can just keep that going. So now if we switch over to, I really like the X-ray view. I think shows us the most accurate view of what it is that we're doing here. If I switch over to the X-ray view, you can see there. So essentially what I need to do then is chisel this out of that. So I'm going to do the extrude command. I'm sorry, my bad. I'm going to do the subtract. And I did not mean to hit F1. Sooner or later I'll get us to the subtract. And that one out of that one. Whoops. Let's see, so subtract. We want to keep that, and we want to chisel out that. Boom. So now that looks good. That looks like what we're looking for. We look at the top view. We can roll this thing around any way you want. It's looking good, and this is what we're looking for. Now keep in mind, right now let's get back to world coordinate system. So I've just changed my perspective as far as my UCS goes. So there we go. We're in pretty good shape for the shape we're in. That's the base, and all the dimensions are correct, the extrusion is correct, the chiseling out is correct, and the base is done. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and draw these little pillars, I guess you could call them. And again, I'm using my construction lines layer to get this thing started. In view, I'll probably go back to wireframe for a while and draw. Should I make this a P line? Maybe save myself a join command. Now if we can run up here, I'm going to turn OSnap off because I don't want it grabbing that midpoint. and I'm just going to go 3 slant 4 because that's 3/4 of an inch that way, and then 3 slant 4 should be okay, and 3 slant 4. Is that right? That's the right size. It's not in the right place. 3 slant 4 to there. Now UCS is back at normal, so I should be able to just move this thing over to the right place. So there's the object, and I'm going to turn O-snap on because I want that corner right there. Okay, that looks good. And then I know that there's 3 inches in between these, so let me just throw a line right here, and there's probably better ways to do this. I'm going to offset that line by 3 inches from there to there. So now when I make a copy of this object, I can say that from there to there is where that's supposed to be. Then I can get rid of these 2 temporary lines. Then I can extrude this object and this object. Remember, the extrude command only extrudes in the direction of the z-axis. So up here, and if memory serves, that's 1 1/4. So 1 dash 1 slant 4, 1 1/4. So that's the height of that. And if we look at that in X-ray view, it looks good. So let's take this object and this object, and let's swing those over. They're no longer construction lines, they're a permanent part of the deal, and that looks good. So what we need to do now is put this little crown piece on there, and again we'll swing over to do we want to go back? Yeah, let's go view and let's go wireframe, and maybe I'll stop. Okay, so going back and making sure that my current layer is construction lines, and my UCS should be normal, and or WCS. So I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to go from here to here. Now this one, I don't want my O-snap grabbing anything. I want to hang this out here because this dimension is 1 1/8. So 1 dash 1 slant 8, enter, and then come back this direction. And I wonder if I can pull this off. Let me see if I can do a shift and say that I want this next point perpendicular with there. No, that didn't work. Okay, so let me kill that line there. We'll draw a couple of lines that are just way too long. Turn O-snap on. Bring this one from that intersection out here. Line from that end point way the heck out here, and fill it. That line and that line. So there I have that. Then I want to join. I could, if I'd have done all of this in P line, then I wouldn't have to do the join. But 2, 3, 4 objects. And so now they're 1 object, so now I extrude. This object on the z-axis, and it goes up 3/4 of an inch, so 3 slant 4. And let's take that whole object and flip it over to the other layer, the main layer, and now let's take a look at this thing in maybe conceptual. Alright, that looks pretty good. That's actually exactly what we're looking for. You rotate this thing around. Now the only difference is that we really have 1, 2, 3 objects here, so we don't join them because they're 3D objects. We union them. I want to take a look around the back. Yeah, make sure I got this lined up very nicely. So that looks good. That's what that end should look like. That's what the front should look like. That's what the right side should look like. Left side. And of course the isometric views. That looks like Southwest isometric. Anyway, getting back to putting it all together, let's do a union and go boom and boom, boom, and boom, and get all 1, 2, 3, 4 objects in there, enter, and now all 4 of those are one big joined object. So that works.